Sometimes the unfolding of events gives a marvelous opportunity. I now have the lovely experience of bringing Clyde Schallenberger to the podium when he, after 30 years, is on the brink of retirement. June 1st, 1963 to June 1st, 1993. How can I sum up 30 years of splendid service in just a few words? And indeed, it has been splendid service. Clyde calls his role at Hopkins, Director of the Chaplaincy Service, the best position here. I see it differently. We all do. He is the best possible person for that role. Clyde has touched so very many of our lives in significant ways. For me and my family, it was a joyous occasion, a wedding. We know, and Clyde knows, the significance of all he did for us, so much more than the marriage ceremony alone. We learned firsthand of his compassion, honesty, and faith. One by one, all of Hopkins has. Day after day, he was here and available to each of us, even before the anesthesiologists and the surgeons arrived. He recognized no sectarian limit. He has been pastor to all of us. The patients and all who study here and work here have been his congregation. Thank you, Clyde, and Godspeed.
I respect you all. It took you 4 or 5 years to get through Hopkins. It took me 30. Will you pray with me? Creator God, it is not always possible to separate endings from beginnings. We are here today to celebrate both. Formal courses of study have been completed. Exams have been passed. Clinical evaluations have been satisfactory. And now these students come to claim both the rewards of their hard work and the honors of their achievement. Bless them, O God, and bless too those who have nurtured these students during their arduous years of study and work. Faculty, parents, spouses, children, counselors, friends. As those who become physicians from this class begin their practice of medicine, help them to be as concerned for the crosses that their patients bear as well as the blue cross that their patients carry. To feel their patients' fears as keenly as they feel their patients' pulse, and to provide those patients with compassionate care along with their Medicare. The time for celebration is here, O God, so let the celebration begin. Amen.
Perhaps we should pause once again, because I would especially like to thank Reverend Schallenberger for the many years of service that he has given to us here at Johns Hopkins. This is his 24th convocation. Clyde, I don't know that there is any dean, probably very few faculty members, if any, who can claim to have been in attendance at 24 convocations, seeing our medical students off to the beginning of their lives. And so I just want to stop and say thank you, and thank you for all that time. You really have helped to fashion what Hopkins is about, and we're all grateful to you for that. Thank you for those years of service. Thank you, Clyde. Well, they've got me standing on a box here. I don't know, maybe they expected Barbara Mikulski was coming to speak, but it's not particularly comfortable. I don't know if the rest of the people are going to like this either, but here we are. Good afternoon and welcome, graduates, parents, spouses, family, and friends of the graduates. Well, this is it, the moment you've all been working for. You're graduating from the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, and you're on the verge of taking on the great joys and responsibilities of being professionals in science, medicine, and art as applied to medicine. Congratulations. Now, I see quite a few proud parents and their spouses, other family members and friends here today, and you should be proud. I'm the father of 2 medical students myself, so I know of your hopes and your fears as these fine men and women struggled through countless hours of classes and clinics, experiments, exams, dissertations, and yes, issues of life and death. But I also know of your faith that they could get to where they are today. Well, I can assure you that your faith and your hopes have been realized. Your sons and your daughters, your husbands, wives, siblings, and friends have given an excellent account of themselves. These graduates have demonstrated intelligence, commitment, perseverance, caring, the special qualities the world has come to expect from Hopkins graduates. Graduates, each and every one of you makes us proud. And now, it's into the maelstrom. You must take your new skills and knowledge into the uncertain environment of healthcare reform. My advice, stay focused. Stay focused on your dreams, on your goals, on learning, and on service to society. But also be flexible. Be prepared to chart new courses and to seize new opportunities. But most of all, don't fear change. And I remember almost 30 years ago, it was the first day of the last major transformation in American medicine, and I didn't even know it. It was my first day as a medical student, August 1965. A bill starting something that was called Medicare had been signed by President Johnson. It was highly touted on the pages of our newspapers by the egalitarians and condemned by the libertarians. There was quite a ruckus. Health care is a privilege, not a right. The medical profession will be ruined, and no one will want to be a doctor anymore. The doctor-patient relationship will be destroyed forever by governmental interference. Was I fearful about the future? Well, the truth be known, faced with the challenges of medical school, I just sort of hunkered on down and studied, somewhat oblivious to that larger societal debate going on around me, mostly fearful that I wouldn't be in the class for long if I didn't. I wanted to be a doctor. To me, that meant helping patients to have a healthier life and helping them when they were sick. I had no idea about the business of medicine. I had no idea how doctors were paid or how much money they made. It really didn't matter because I wanted to be a doctor. I had never seen a doctor who didn't appear to be financially better off than my loving parents, so for me, no matter what the system, it couldn't be bad as long as I was a doctor. Well, I've since learned that the system does matter. It matters how health care is delivered, who does it, how much it costs, and whose dollar pays for it. And as it turns out, these issues are now the focus of much of what I do. Now see, I want you all to be careful because this is the kind of thing that can happen to you if you don't pay enough attention to what's going around you. Somebody asks you to be the dean. Well, back in 1965, they said the medical profession would never be the same. And they were right. It never was. And I can tell you now that medicine and science won't be the same 10 years from now either. It's always changing. And so long as you are dedicated to healing, to discovery, to enhancing the health and well-being of humanity, it will continue to change. For the physician and the biomedical scientist, the future is always brighter than the past, because with each passing day, we increase our knowledge and our ability to heal and prevent disease. So now, here we are, on the verge of the next major transformation of American medicine. Hopefully, you're all a little bit more tuned in than I was, though I'm sure that there's a few future deans out here sleeping away. Well, your Hopkins education has given you the foundation upon which to build the future of medicine. Prepare yourselves to lead the change that is coming. So here you are. What a great day. Savor it. You've worked hard for it. You've jumped all the hoops and the hurdles. You've reached closure on that formal schooling part of your life. You've surmounted SATs and GREs and MCATs, match day, and you have succeeded mightily. You can stand tall. You can feel proud. I'm proud of you. I know that the faculty are proud of you, and Johns Hopkins is proud of you. Now, at this point in my talk, I had the notion that this is a pretty exciting day, and that all of you would be feeling a great deal of joy and excitement in your hearts, and you really want to let the world know about it. And so I had passed this part of my talk around to get some advice. 3 to 3. 3 people said, don't do it. The other 3 said, do it. And so what I want to do is I want the medical students and the graduate students to decide. If you feel that joy and that strength, I think you all ought to stand up and let out a shout of joy right now. All right. It does feel good, doesn't it? It really does. Yeah. Great. Well, I'm glad to have that sense that you all agreed with me. I can't wait till tomorrow and talk to the folks who said no. Well, now, I would like to, with that opening statement, I would like to now introduce you to the Society of Scholar inductees. And I'd like that they would please stand as I announce your name and be recognized. I would appreciate it if you would just hold your applause until everyone's name has been announced. We've had a number of people inducted into the Society of Scholars, and there are 2 scholars who are with us today. The first is Dr. Gavril W. Pasternak and Dr. Robert J. Rubin. If we could just give them a round of applause. I might say that Drs. Morley Hollenberg, Edward Hook, Edward Laws, Tom Starzl, who also were inducted into the Society of Scholars, are unable to be here with us today. I'd also at this point just like to stop to welcome Dr. Jim Block, who is the new president of the Johns Hopkins Hospital, to be for joining us here today. Jim, if you'll stand. This is the first of what we'll hope will be many times that Dr. Block will join us at commencement, and we're pleased that you're here. Well, now it's time to move along. For me to get off of this block here. Maybe it's for you, Frank. Well, next I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Frank Herlong. Frank is the Dean of Students at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. Anybody who has the responsibilities that he does to guide and to nurture the careers of all these students and take it as seriously as he does is somebody that's to be admired, and indeed he is, by all of our students. He's an outstanding hepatologist, a great member of our faculty, but mostly he's the dean of students. Frank?
Thank you. I don't need this. Today we celebrate the graduation of the members of the class of 1993. But we're also celebrating our 100th birthday. A century ago, in 1893, the School of Medicine admitted its first class. The opening of the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine represented a bold experiment in medical education. For the first time, entering students were required to have a bachelor's degree with a sound basis in the sciences. They were taught by a full-time faculty in the basic and clinical sciences. And for the first time, women were admitted on an equal basis with men. While Hopkins has maintained many of its traditions in medical education, many things have changed. In the early years, there were no graduate students. Similarly, the Department of Art as Applied to Medicine did not exist. The first class admitted 4 women. Now, throughout our school, approximately half of our students are women. Perhaps most distinguishing, though, is the diversity of our students' careers. Our medical students will be pursuing over 20 different residencies. For the first time, we have a woman neurosurgeon. And this year, our first student from Ethiopia will graduate. Approximately a quarter of our students will be receiving more than 1 degree to get today. Some of our graduate students will do further postdoctoral fellowships, while others will take research positions in other academic centers or in industry. All of the recipients of the Masters of Art Applied to Medicine have secured positions. As students, you have dedicated yourselves to academic pursuits, but you have also contributed greatly to our community. Healthcare for the homeless, the Dunbar Teen Sexuality Project, and the Sports Clinic are but a few ways you've made Baltimore and Hopkins a better place. We thank you very much. 100 years ago today, Dr. Welch delivered the commencement address at the Johns Hopkins University undergraduate ceremony commemorating the opening of the School of Medicine. He said, "Medical education is not completed at this medical school. It has only begun. It is not only or chiefly the quantity of knowledge which the student takes from the school, which will help with future work. It is the quality of mind, the methods of work, and the habit of correct reasoning. The aim of the school is to qualify persons to take care of disease conditions of people. The Johns Hopkins Medical School will start unhampered by tradition and free to work out its own salvation." I'm sure he would be very proud today. And so, for those of you who will be staying here at Hopkins after today, we look forward to working with you in July. For those of you who will be leaving Hopkins today, I join our faculty in saying goodbye, Godspeed, and do stay in touch. Thank you.
And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished commencement speaker. I want you to notice that I didn't refer to her as our distinguished guest because, as many of you know, she is as much a part of the Hopkins family that the word guest just doesn't apply. Dr. Bernadine Healy is the director of the National Institute of Health, where she has served since she was appointed by President Bush and confirmed by the United States Senate in 1991. Her tenure as the leader of our nation's biomedical research enterprise has been remarkable. Shortly after her appointment, she launched the NIH Women's Health Initiative. Now, this initiative will undoubtedly have a major impact on women's health status for generations to come. Dr. Healy also initiated a process to focus on our nation's health priorities in biomedical and behavioral sciences research. But Dr. Healy hasn't focused on just the big picture. She has also devoted great energy to assuring the integrity and continuity of research at the individual investigator level. Among her initiatives in this area was her establishment of the Shannon Awards, grants that enable individual researchers who show special promise to maintain the continuity of their research efforts in a highly competitive environment. Prior to her appointment at the NIH, Dr. Healy was chairman of the Research Institute of the Cleveland Clinic Foundation, where for 6 years she directed the research efforts of 9 departments while also serving as a member of the Department of Cardiology. Before that, she served as deputy director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy at the White House under President Reagan. There, among other responsibilities, she chaired the White House Cabinet Working Group on Biotechnology and was executive secretary of the White House Science Council's panel on the health of universities. Dr. Healy's affiliation with Hopkins began after her graduation from the Harvard Medical School in 1970. She completed her postgraduate training in internal medicine and cardiology here at Johns Hopkins, and from June of 1976 through early 1984, when Mr. Reagan called her away from us, she was professor of medicine, director of the coronary care unit, as well as assistant dean for postdoctoral programs and faculty development. Join me in welcoming back Dr. Healy to Hopkins.
Thank you. Yesterday, I attended another graduation exercise, and as I was walking in with the processional, I noticed something I didn't notice today, and that was the hats, or were the hats. And many of the students had plastered on the back of their hats signs that could be read by all, particularly those sitting behind them. There was one which said, "We'll work for food." Another one, which I'm sure everyone in the back will appreciate, "Love you, Mom and Dad." There was another one, profound, "Which way is reality?" And of course, one that warmed my heart, "Women will prevail." On my hat, you can't see it, but what my hat says is, "Don't be long." You know, it's standard procedure. As a matter of fact, it may be required at graduation ceremonies to point out to you that you are embarking on a journey or a blazing trail. But I'm not just going to tell you good passage, good luck, be done with it. I think I would like to talk a little about the past, since this is the 100th celebration, and a little bit about the future. "The past," wrote Finlay Peter Dunne, the wryest of Irish wits, "always looks better than it was. It's only pleasant because it isn't here." That sort of wry observation is easy to agree with. Actually, right now I'm searching out the crowd for one of those ugly old Pathotomy Club ties. But I don't mean to knock that past. After all, where would we be without the past? Not here. I mean that as more than a nod to our each individual stories. It also applies to the magnificent past of this institution of which we are all a part. and especially to the story of a woman, well known to you all, I'm sure, and someone who was always an inspiration to me when I was at Hopkins. She may not have been this medical school's mother, but was certainly the midwife who induced a healthy birth. Let me take a moment to pay special tribute to her. She, of course, was Mary Elizabeth Garrett, heiress to a local fortune, who was present at the creation and the founding of Johns Hopkins Medical School, as Dr. Hurling briefly alluded to. And of course, she took the steps courageously to see that it was done on her terms precisely, namely, that women would be admitted on an equal basis with men from the first day, and that all students here would be of a higher caliber academically, having finished college first. She overcame the opposition of the great Sir William Osler and others by her determination, political savvy, and relentless willingness to fight for what she believed in. Mary Elizabeth Garrett was a practical woman, and so ultimately was Dr. Osler. Practical, that is. And her vision set the tone for the truly academic medical school that you have enjoyed and that I enjoyed. Indeed, she not only saw the future importance of women in medicine, but she also saw the importance of academic excellence, and ultimately that translates into science. This story, among many from the archives of Johns Hopkins, reminds us that our world, the world of medicine, is not set apart from the rest of life and the rest of experience. Finley Peter Dunn's observation notwithstanding, the past is neither good nor bad, but it surely was there. But the past's presence and influence shouldn't get in the way of our future. Unfortunately, I detect a revisionist tendency in medicine these days to do just that. Keep in mind the words of the English novelist Samuel Butler, who said, "God cannot alter the past, but historians can." So unfortunately, can anyone else who manages to get the attention of the morning paper or the nightly news. Some of them are telling us that the way to deal with the problems of healthcare is to return to the past, to those good old days when costs were low, 4% of the GNP, and the family doctor made house calls. But let's not forget that in those good old days, there were no bypass operations, there were very few treatments for cancer, there were no MRIs, no gene therapy, no laparoscopic surgical techniques, no artificial heart valves or artificial knees or hips, or polio vaccines. Just for the statistical record, in the 1950s, when I was a kid in grammar school thinking about a career in medicine, there were 22 cases of polio per 100,000 of population. Today, there are typically 3 cases of polio in a year in the entire population of 250 million. And just for the personal record, I vividly remember a friend and neighbor of mine named Louis, who was crippled by polio at the age of 4, back in the good old days of the 1950s. The science of medicine is the reason we don't close swimming pools in the summer out of fear of polio. The science of medicine is actually comparatively new, a phenomenon of our lifetime. And the science of medicine is all about the future. It looks ahead, and that, of course, is what you're all doing today. You are especially fortunate to be embarking on medicine today at a time when the science of medicine is transforming the way we practice daily. The field of human genetics is but one example, and one pioneered very much here with Dr. McCusick. In a few short years, we have witnessed the discovery of the genes for neurofibromatosis, cystic fibrosis, various forms of muscular dystrophy. We're closing in on the breast cancer gene. Such knowledge has been used to treat children with a deadly heritable immune deficiency syndrome. And just last month, the team at NIH introduced a normal gene in place of a damaged cystic fibrosis gene into the lungs and nasal passages of a 23-year-old patient using a modified cold virus as a carrier. Here, gene therapy is being used to treat common genetic disorders and aiming for a cure. Just weeks ago, your colleagues here at Johns Hopkins, supported by the Human Genome Program at NIH, discovered a gene that predisposes to colon cancer. A common form may be occurring in 1 in 200 people. And of course, that discovery will lead rather rapidly to a simple test for screening for the gene, which in turn will lead to earlier identification, earlier treatment, less human suffering, and reduced costs. How lucky to be part of this. How powerful is an understanding of the molecular and genetic basis of disease to transform tomorrow's medicine. The knowledge produced by the Human Genome Research will be the physician's handbook of the future, the Gray's Anatomy of the 21st century. This whole new field of molecular medicine is yet still in its infancy. It is ready to grow up with you. But as you grow, keep in mind the words of the most humane and eminent of healers, Groucho Marx. And don't become too dependent on the high-tech science of medicine. In A Day at the Races, Dr. Groucho seized a man's wrist and declares, "Either he's dead or my watch has stopped." In other words, place half of your faith in science and place the rest in yourself as a human, compassionate, and yes, intuitive physician. We often think of what tools science may put in our hands. Medical school, internship, and residency will all teach your hands new skills. But there's something else that must be in your hand if you're to be a good doctor, something T.S. Eliot described graphically when he wrote of the doctor. Beneath the bleeding hands we feel the sharp compassion of the healer's art. The healer's compassion, that's what must guide us all, no matter what science or technique is put in it. That compassion, that art, has always been celebrated as our good past, but it must also be celebrated as our good future. But no one teaches you compassion. It's deep within each of us, and you will, I hope, allow yourself to feel this as you become physicians, however scientific, however overworked, however powerful this craft. And believe me, this is not just commencement address sentiment. Let's talk examples. Let me give you one good one. Consider the graying of America, the aging of our population. Consider, for example, that there are more men and women at least 65 years of age than teenagers. And consider that life expectancies are now in the mid-70s. We have finally caught up with the biblical promise of 70. And I am personally very glad. Life expectancy at the beginning of this century was a year less than I am now. The reason we have caught up is science, but science is incomplete. We may have more people living longer, but not necessarily better, perhaps because we have grown a bit lax in cultivating the art involved, the compassion, and not focusing on quality of life as well as quantity. So we must be sure as we practice that we give the same faith to geriatrics that we give to gerontology, so to speak, the same effort and resources to the compassionate practice of caring for the old and aged as to the science of studying old age. But there's a third element to keep in mind as you move ahead, and it's an element that would not have been spoken 100 years ago, or 20 years ago, or maybe even 10 years ago. And that's politics, for want of a less impolite word. Politics gets a bad rap these days, as do politicians. What is it that Henry Kissinger once lamented? 90% of politicians give the other 10% a bad name. But I think we must reclaim politics in its original Greek sense of being polites, a public citizen, and politics, focusing on the shared concerns of citizens. There is no greater shared concern than health. Practicing medicine, you will be heavily steeped in politics, like it or not, heavily steeped in policy, and will be vastly influenced by politicians. Medicine has become a huge industry, 14% of our gross domestic product, and seemingly a lot more of our national political debate these days. Over the past 25 years, spending on health care as a percent of GDP has doubled. I would wager, however, that medicine's advances and importance to human life has increased by way more than that much. However, as Thomas Jefferson once said, no more good must be attempted than the people can bear. It's not clear how we can fully bear the current system as it is, however great, and are certain to face major changes in the years ahead, ones that will promote universal access, quality, efficiency, continued advancement, and cost control, seemingly competing goals at times. As the colleague once commented, most Americans are for national health care. They just don't want the government involved. No doubt the American healthcare system of tomorrow is going to be different. New regulations, expenditure caps, global budgets, capitation, health alliances, managed competition, healthcare boards. Whatever results, medical research, education, and practice are surely being jettisoned out of the ivory tower. We, individually and collectively, must become involved in shaping this future for ourselves, for our craft, and mostly for our patients. Like it or not, the public and political dimensions of medicine will touch each of us, and you especially, as never before. Look at this as an opportunity, not an obstacle. Medicine is in the public eye these days, but it is also in the public's imagination and in their hearts. Despite some of the medicine bashing, 9 out of 10 people responding to a recent Harris poll said that they want more spending on medical research, even though healthcare is already the largest industry in America. The public believes in good medicine and in the hope of a better medicine tomorrow, which you will bring and which you will practice. That's no small job as you face tomorrow. Being a doctor isn't what it used to be, but I think that's good. We've come a long way since Hippocrates in 25 centuries, and a great deal of it really in the past 25 years. You wonder what that old man would think of physicians today, how Hippocrates would look at us, at you in particular, and your future as doctors. I think he'd smile. I think he'd touch you on the arm or the face and smile at you. It was Hippocrates who said, after all, that life is short and the craft takes so long to learn. Yes, it does, and probably a lifetime. But what a lifetime it is, and what an ennobling life it is to be a part of medicine, especially today. Thank you, and congratulations.
Recipients of the degree of Master of Arts, please come forward so that we may present you with your diploma and hood. David Joseph Giracho. Caitlin Elizabeth Hughes. Catherine Marie Jones. Deborah Elaine Shade Mahoney. Lisa McCarchuk. Craig Gordon Smucker. Catherine Speeden Sutliff. Recipients of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy will now come forward to receive their hoods. The degree was confirmed and the diplomas presented at this morning's university commencement. Donald Bruce Arnold. David Oscar Azorza. David Scott Brett. Kevin Michael Callahan. Kathleen Loretta Collins. Sonia Karen Danoff. Ravinda S. Dalan. Stephen Carl Ecker. Christopher Dean Ferris. Rachel Shockett Fiore. Shannon Fisher. Craig George Grubin. Paul Mingyu Duang. Shaunath Louise Merbs. Craig Robert Monell. Mark D. Peace. Avilio Domingo Perez Albuani. Jeffrey Stewart Pitt. Lorraine Amory Soisson. I should also comment that Lorraine has served in a very distinguished manner as president of the Graduate Student Association. David Eric Seimer. Tracy Maria Tanaka. Atul Bharadkari. Francisco Vega Bermudez. Yanshu Wang. Anthony Raymond Welch. Lawrence M. Whitmer. Amina Sarah Woods. Will the recipients of the degree of Doctor of Medicine please come forward so that we may present you with your diploma and hood? Stacy Denise Anderson. Albania Arosarena. Paulina Joanna Asiane. Carol Diana Barglagi. Diane Julie Bauer. Robert James Bingham. Craig Allen Bidner. Fillmore Alexander Blake. Peter Edward Braverman. David Scott Brett. You will probably recognize David. He was here earlier receiving his PhD. Paul David Bretschneider. Scott Curtis Brune. Carolyn Ragay Burrow. Carolyn is being hooded by her uncle, Dr. Christopher Burrow, who is on our faculty in the Department of Medicine. Jeffrey Anthony Kadedu. Mark Lawrence Cannon. Alexis John Karras. Elizabeth Sarah Chabner. Brandon Willie Chan. Andrew Cheng Hung Chan. Caroline Margaret Chang. That must be John, her husband, who graduated from our school last year. Sufi Chen. Theodore Chow. Jennifer Holly Christensen. Charles Bernard Claggett, Jr. Carolyn Teresa Cleary. James Quentin Clemens. Harold Lane Cohen. Kathleen Loretta Collins. You'll note that Kathleen is also wearing the PhD hood she received today. Nathan Greenleaf Stone Congdon. Nathan is wearing the peach-colored hood, which signifies his Master of Public Health degree, which he also received this week. Yvette Louise Crabtree. Cameron Schmitz Crandall. Elizabeth Halstead Cuervo. If you're wondering, Elizabeth is going to be a pediatrician, not a surgeon. Sonia Karen Dana. Sonia is also receiving her second hood and diploma today. Robert Arthur Dudas. Nestor Felix Esnaola. Elliot Nicholas Exar. Stephanie Hope Factor. Richard Wayne Fawcett. Christopher Dean Ferris. Chris is also receiving his second degree today. Shannon Fisher. And Shannon is receiving her second degree. Brian Edward Flowers. Christine Simone Freemer. Carol Parks Gear. Prior to coming to Hopkins, Carol had the hardest job in America. She had to decide which students at the University of North Carolina got tickets to the basketball games. Bala Krishna Giri. John Pierre Hakim. Giselle Genevieve Hamad. Anil Kumar Hari. Rohan Hazra. William Robert Hobbs. Gregory Horner. Denise Howard. Denise is already wearing the hood of her Master's of Public Health degree. Peter Robert Hubbs. Rebecca Ellen Humes. Grace Autumn Hutchison. Paul Mingyu Duang. Paul is also wearing his PhD hood today. Lisa Beth Jacobs. Clifford L. Jang. Chris Harlan Jenner. Chris came to Hopkins with his Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Oxford. Calvin Barksdale Johnson. Calvin is being hooded by Dr. Neil Poe, a member of our faculty in the Department of Medicine. Vilma Angela Eileen Joseph. Nina Singh Caden. Mindy Jill Katz. Linda Kierstead. Karen Machiko Klang. Ingrid Charlotte Kolstad. David Franklin Kong. Stephanie Lynn Coons. Dario R.S. Kunar. Grace Cheng Ling Kung. Aladeen Lajvardi. Amy P. Lee. Francis Unhyung Lee. Lisa Zarin Soleimani Lehman. Lisa also received a master's degree from the undergraduate school in philosophy while she was a medical student. David Warren Lowry. Sanjay Marwaha. Taras Volodymyr Masnik. Taras arrived at Hopkins with a PhD degree from the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. Vaisali Mathur. Bruce Gerald McCarthy. Darren Keith McGuire. Matthew Gordon Meldorf. Shanath Louise Mergs. Shanath is wearing her colors from her PhD degree received earlier today. Terrence Andre Merritt. Venkataswara Vinod Mutha. Ron Lee Moses. Ron is being hooded by his father, Dr. David Moses, a member of our faculty in the Department of Radiology. Robert David Newman. Nak Ha Yuen. Susan Chikandi Northern. Stephen Lewis Novick. Stephen arrived at Hopkins with his PhD obtained at the California Institute of Technology. Denise Marianne O'Grady. Jonathan Daniel Olener. Jonathan received his PhD degree in human genetics at the morning ceremony earlier today. Himanshu Jagdish Patel. Avilio Domingo Perez Albuerni. Jeffrey Stewart Pitt. Jeff is receiving his second degree today. He also has a Master of Science from the Johns Hopkins University. Michael James Polydefkis. Robert Sealing Poston, Jr. James Bennett Potash. James is being hooded by his father, Dr. Michael Potash, a member of our faculty in the Department of Psychiatry. Charles Rye Pound. Jean Chihi Rim. Karen Cecilia Richards. Kristen Cheryl Ring. Susanna Gilliland Rowe. Susanna is wearing the colors of her Master's of Public Health degree. Andrew Rudman. Ingrid Ursula Scott. Ingrid received her Master's of Public Health degree earlier today. Michael Ernest Severino. Jennifer Claire Shores, excuse me. Marion Ruth Sells. Marion is being tutored by her father, Dr. Edward Sills, director of the basic clerkship in pediatrics. David Keenan Solikov. Dave has served as president of the Medical Student Society. Denise Ann Spence. Robert Lawrence Stone. Scott Owen Sykes. David Eric Seimer. David is also wearing the colors of his second degree. Christine Marie Seidel. Ursula Wanda Teichman. William Mansing Tang. Marie Blanche Nana Chetkin. Nolan Herman Thompson, Jr. Mark Wayne Urquhart. Francisco Vega Bermudez. Francisco received his PhD degree earlier, too. Louis Vernacchio. Naila Wahid. Mark Frederick Walker. Jeanette Renee White. Jeffrey Paul Wilkinson. Mark Charles Whitty. Christopher E. Woodhouse. Tadessa Wuhib. Kimon Cleomenes Zachary. I'm pleased now to announce the student awards. The Henry Strong Dennison Scholarship is given for excellence in biomedical research. The fund is used to train for research young people deemed by the medical faculty to be especially gifted for a career in medical investigation. Henry Strong Dennison Scholarships are awarded on recommendation of the faculty and selection by the Committee on Awards. The members of the senior class who received Henry Strong Dennison Scholarships are Nathan Greenleaf Stone Congdon, Chris Harlan Jenner, Michael James Polydefkis, Ingrid Ursula Scott, Mark Wayne Urquhart, and Lisa Jacobs. Please stand. The Sandoz Pharmaceutical Company has provided an award which is to be given to that student who has demonstrated excellence in pharmacology. The recipient is chosen by a committee of faculty from the Department of Pharmacology and Molecular Sciences. The recipient is Anthony Raymond Welch. Anthony, would you please stand? The Laurel and Clarence Koeneke Award was established in 1973 under the will of Laurel and Clarence Koeneke. The award is given to those students showing most promise in the surgical field of gynecology. The recipients are selected by a committee in the Department of Gynecology and Obstetrics. The recipient in this year's graduating class is Elizabeth Sarah Chabner. Elizabeth, would you please stand? The Franklin Payne Mall Prize in Anatomy, established by Dr. Miley B. Weston, an alumnus of the School of Medicine, is given in the name of Franklin Payne Mall, the first professor of anatomy in the School of Medicine. The members of the senior class who have been honored by the granting of this award are Scott Curtis Brune, Nathan Greenlee Stone Congdon, Sonia Karen Danoff, William Robert Hobbs, Taras Vladimir Masnik, and Avilio Domingo Perez Albuerni. Would you all please stand? The Paul Ehrlich Awards recognize student research contributions and are presented each year at Young Investigators Day. The recipients of the Ehrlich Awards are Jeffrey Stewart Pitt, Anthony Raymond Welch, Christopher Dean Ferris, Nathan Greenleaf Stone Congdon, and Michael James Polidevkis. Would you all please stand? The Michael A. Shanoff Research Award is made annually to a student for significant research contribution in the medical sciences. The award is made possible by a bequest from the family and friends of the late Dr. Michael A. Shanoff, who earned his undergraduate degree and MD degrees from the Johns Hopkins University. The following students have been awarded the Michael A. Shanoff Research Award: David Scott Brett and Shanath Louise Merbs. The David Mock Memorial Prize, established in 1983 by the family of Dr. Mock, is to commemorate the centenary of his birth. Dr. Mock was a member of the faculty of the Departments of Pharmacology and Medicine in the early part of this century. The prize is intended to recognize excellence investigation by a student in the School of Medicine. The recipient this year is Donald Bruce Arnold. The Martin and Carol Mock Research Prize is awarded to a doctoral candidate whose research evidences elegance in science, originality in thought, and creativity in approach. The prize, given for the first time this year, is awarded to Wei Chen Lin. The Barry Wood Student Research Award recognizes present commitment and future promise in research. The recipient of the Barry Wood Award is David Eric Seimer. The Harold Lamport Biomedical Research Prize is awarded in memory of Dr. Harold Lamport, a distinguished investigator. The prize recognizes research contributions. The recipient is Louis Vernacchio. The Ciba Pharmaceutical Company makes a yearly award to that student in the second year of the School of Medicine who is judged by classmates to have made the greatest contribution to our community. The recipient for 1990 to 1991 was Stephanie Lynn Coons. The Alpha Omega Alpha chapter of Maryland was established at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine in 1906. Medical students with outstanding records are elected to membership in their senior year. The following members of the graduating class have been elected to membership in Alpha Omega Alpha: Diane Julie Bauer, Scott Curtis Brun, Nathan Greenleaf Stone Congdon, Elizabeth Halstead Cuervo, Sonia Karen Danoff, Nestor Felix Esnaola, Elliot Nicholas Exar, Carol Parks Gear, William Robert Hobbs, Amy P. Lee, Taras Vladimir Masnik, Matthew Gordon Meldor, Karen Keith McGuire, Robert David Newman, Jacques Ha Thi Nguyen, Robert Sealing Poston Jr., Charles Rye Pound, Karen Cecilia Richards, Scott Owen Sykes, Michael Ernest Severino, Louis Vernacchio, and Camone Cleomenes Zachary. Please stand. In recognition of academic excellence during medical school studies, the following student has been elected to Phi Beta Kappa: Charles Rye Pound. Charles, would you please stand? A number of the members of this year's class have already been inducted into the Phi Beta Kappa Honorary Society. Would those members please stand? The following awards are special in that the recipients will learn for the first time today of their awards. The recipient of the Upjohn Achievement Award for Clinical Proficiency is selected from the members of the senior class by the committee of faculty most directly involved in clinical instruction during the basic clinical clerkships. The award is given to that senior considered by the committee to have demonstrated the highest level of overall clinical proficiency based on his or her performance in the basic clerkships. The recipient for 1993 is Diane Julie Bauer. The Warfield T. Longcoat Prize in Clinical Medicine, established in honor of Dr. Longcoat, Director of the Department of Medicine from 1922 to 1946, recognizes that graduating student entering the field of medicine whose performance in clinical medicine exemplifies in outstanding fashion the academic excellence and the human qualities that mark the true physician. The recipient for 1993 is Jacques Ha Nguyen. The Helen and Harold Harrison Award for Outstanding Proficiency in Pediatrics recognizes the remarkable achievements of Helen and Harold Harrison, a splendid husband and wife team. The award was established by Dr. Harrison's house officers and colleagues during his many years as Chief of Pediatrics at the Francis Scott Key Hospital. The recipient for 1993 is Louis Vernacchio. The William Stewart Halstead Award in Surgery, established in honor of Dr. Halstead, the first professor and director of the Department of Surgery, recognizes that graduating senior entering the field of surgery whose proficiency in the discipline is deemed outstanding by the faculty of the Section of Surgical Sciences. The recipient for 1993 is Chris Harlan Jenner. The Sylvan Shane Prize in Anesthesiology and Critical Care Medicine was established by Dr. Sylvan Shane, a former member of the faculty in anesthesiology and critical care medicine. This prize recognizes an outstanding medical student making a career choice in anesthesiology. The student receiving this award for 1993 is Vilma Angela Joseph. Faculty member who has devoted her years at Hopkins to medical student education. Dr. Emily Haller graduated from Vanderbilt Medical School and after internship in Nashville came to Johns Hopkins where she was assistant resident in obstetrics and gynecology. 20 years later, she resumed her OBGYN practice and since then has served on the faculty. She has devoted herself to medical student education and has used the Women's Clinic as a site for medical student education. Dr. Haller, would you please come to the podium? Dr. Haller is beloved by decades of students for her teaching and is recognized for her clinical excellence. She is a wife and mother of Hopkins physicians. In 1992, she received the Association of Professors in Gynecology and Obstetrics Award for teaching, and this year, her colleagues and friends have established the Emily Sims Haller Prize in Obstetrics to be given each year to an outstanding medical student at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine for his or her work in obstetrics. We hope that you will award the first Emily Sims Haller Prize in Obstetrics to Dr. Jeffrey Paul Wilkinson. I'd like now if Chris Jenner would come to the podium to announce a special award.
Thank you, Dr. Herlong. This year, the School of Medicine lost a treasured friend and colleague, Rosemary Hope Reed. 1 year ago, Rosemary graduated from the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine and looked forward to a lifelong career in pediatrics. Tragically, 2 weeks ago, she was killed in an automobile accident in Ohio, where she was a pediatric intern at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Hospital. Rosemary's kindness, energy, and generosity were an inspiration to us, her classmates, and to everyone's life she touched. In her memory, the class of 1992 in the Department of Pediatrics has established a memorial fund to honor a fourth-year student who best exemplifies Rosemary's many wonderful attributes. in particular her optimism and selfless contribution to others. We wish to share Rosemarie's memory with those in future classes in the School of Medicine. It's my particular honor this year to present the first annual Rosemarie Hope Reed Award to David Solikoff. David, will you stand?
Well, now we shift gears a little bit. I was thinking before we shift gears to talk about faculty and faculty awards, we haven't fully recognized the support of all the parents and spouses and family out there, and I think it's a great time. We've been focused on the graduates. Let's focus on the family out there. That's great. Well, now we have a time to recognize the marshals and hooders who have participated in this ceremony. And it's important for you to realize that these individuals have been selected by the students, and therefore they are honored by the students by this privilege to serve. Will the marshals and hooders please stand, and may I ask you to join me in a round of applause for these faculty members. Marshals and hooders. I might say that in addition to students making Hopkins special, it's also our faculty that make Hopkins special, and it's really the combination of students and faculty in our environment, and we do have a brilliant collection of faculty who work and practice here at Johns Hopkins Medicine, and I'm so pleased that so many of our faculty have shown up to celebrate with you here today. It's a good thing they didn't all show up. Well, in the next few moments, we'll be presenting a number of awards to faculty, which are described in the last page in your program. And the first one is the W. Barry Wood Jr. Award. The W. Barry Wood Jr. Award is given for recognition of outstanding preclinical teaching. And it was granted by this class to Dr. Robert Donald Fair of the Departments of Biomedical Engineering and Physiology in 1990, and to Dr. Lawrence P. Schramm of the Departments of Biomedical Engineering and Neurosciences in 1991. Will Dr. Fair and Dr. Schramm please stand and be recognized? The House Staff Award in recognition of outstanding clinical teaching by a member of the House staff was established by the Johns Hopkins Medical Student Society in 1977. Its purpose is to emphasize the importance the students attach to the concept of House officers as teachers and to reinforce this concept in the public mind. The House officer receiving the award this year is Dr. Linda M. Mundy of the Department of Medicine. Now, Dr. Mundy is on a 6-month rotation to Ireland and has expressed her regrets that she is unable to attend, but we are pleased to announce this award. Just thinking, the life of the House staff in the Department of Medicine has improved tremendously, Jack. Get them off to Ireland for 6 months. No wonder so many students are enthusiastic about that rotation. The Graduate Student Teaching Award. This award is given in recognition of outstanding teaching to students by a member of the faculty. It was established by the Johns Hopkins Graduate Student Society in 1986. Its purpose is to stress the commitment of the faculty to the work with graduate students as they pursue their thesis. The member of the faculty receiving this award this year is Vernice Crosby of the Department of Art as Applied to Medicine. Will Ms. Crosby please come forward? The George J. Stewart Award, in recognition of outstanding clinical teaching, is to be given to Dr. Stephen Reich in the Department of Neurology. The Stewart Award was established in 1969 following the bequest of a grateful patient, George J. Stewart of Washington, D.C. Dr. Stewart had been a patient of Dr. Hugh Jewett in the Department of Urology. He stipulated that the income from his bequest be presented to an outstanding clinical teacher in the School of Medicine, the teacher to be selected by the senior students. The Johns Hopkins University Alumni Association Excellence in Teaching Award was established in 1992 by the Johns Hopkins University Alumni Association, recognizing the critical importance of teaching at Johns Hopkins. Dr. Jean Louise Olson of the Department of Pathology was chosen to receive this award. Dr. Olson received her undergraduate degree from Mount Holyoke College and her MD degree from the University of Rochester, and she's in those splendid colors of that university here today. Dr. Olson is the director of the second-year pathology course. Congratulations. The Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching is being presented for the 12th time this year. Winners of this award have been nominated by full professors on our faculty and determined from amongst those nominations by a committee of faculty, professors, and representatives of the House officers, medical students, and graduate students. The winner of the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching in the basic science years, Dr. Stephen V. Desiderio, is Associate Professor in the Department of Molecular Biology and Genetics. He was graduated from Haverford College before receiving his MD and PhD degrees from the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. He has been recognized by colleagues and students for his excellence in teaching in the fields of microbiology and immunology. Will Dr. Desiderio please come forward? Dr. John R. Burton, Professor of Medicine and Clinical Director of the Geriatrics Department at Francis Scott Key Medical Center, has been selected to receive the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Clinical Years. Dr. Burton received his MD degree from McGill University after graduating from Marietta College. He is recognized for his excellence in clinical teaching by health staff, students, and faculty. Will Dr. Burton please come forward? The Renice W. Crosby Distinguished Achievement Award was established in 1986 in recognition of outstanding contributions to the visual communication of medical science. This year, the recipient of the Renice W. Crosby Distinguished Achievement Award for scholarly contributions to the advancement of art as applied to the medical sciences is a member of the faculty of the School of Medicine. Philip Rand Brown holds a joint appointment as assistant professor in the Division of Comparative Medicine and the Department of Surgery. He received his doctorate of veterinary medicine from the University of Georgia in 1975 and a Master of Science in Experimental Surgery from McGill University in 1980. Following a surgical residency at Tufts University and then private surgical practice, Randy joined the Hopkins School of Medicine faculty in 1987. In his relatively short time here, Dr. Brown has developed a close tie to the Department of Art as Applied to Medicine. Through his participation as a thesis preceptor, a lecturer in basic surgical procedure, and as an articulate guest reviewer at many student surgical illustration critiques, he has been directly involved with the education and training of the graduate students in medical art. Dr. Brown's patience and understanding guidance have been tremendous assets to the curriculum of art as applied to medicine.
He is both popular with and respected by the faculty and the students alike. We want to take this opportunity to recognize his contributions as a teacher in the Hopkins tradition of excellence. Will Dr. Brown please come forward? Now we'll ask Dr. Tony Hood, Dean of Admissions, to come forward and give the oath of Hippocrates to our students.
The oath that you're about to take has been passed from generation of physicians to generation of physicians since the 5th century BC. Although the phrasing and the words have been modified somewhat over the years, the basic intent of the oath remains the same. In taking this oath, we swear to act in purity and with integrity, and to conduct ourselves in a manner that generations of people in different lands and of different cultures consider ideal behavior for a physician. Please rise and speak after me. I do solemnly swear by that which I hold most sacred that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just in my relationships with its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever house I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick, to the utmost of my power, holding myself aloof from wrong, from corruption, and from the tempting of others to vice. That I will exercise my art solely for the care of my patients, and will give no drug and perform no operation without justifiable purpose, far less suggested. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men and women, which is not fitting to be spoken, that I will keep inviolably secret. These things I do promise, and in proportion as I am faithful to this my oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite, if I shall be forsworn.
Shall we stand? I pray now that the Lord will plague you and torment you, that the Lord will make you drunk with imagination in your continuing search for the truth that shall make you free. I pray that the Lord will set before you an impossible task and dare you to meet it. I pray that the Lord will give you strength to do your very best. Then, and then only, I pray that the Lord will grant you peace, and may that peace be always with you. Amen.